What was that?
Perfect. You want to be that guy?
Good morning, DCTV. It is Friday, October 21st, 2022. I'm looking at the futures right now, and it is all red all across the board. We got S&P down 0.7%. We got the Dow that's down 210 points. NASDAQ's down 137. Crude oil is flat at $84.51 per barrel. And then we also have Bitcoin that's back down below 19,000. It's at $18,850 per Bitcoin. It's down 329 points, or good for almost 2%. We got Jaime, we got Greg, we got Coach Tamp, and at the Don Fran Show, guys, we have a special guest also on the way. So make sure you're staying tuned to that. But ladies and gents, how you doing this morning?
Friday, fantastic.
It is Friday.
Love it.
I feel like Tampa's the only one that's excited for Friday.
Of course. It's mimosa time, shall we? Would anybody like to join?
Let us know what you're drinking this morning. What's that,
Don, we need your iconic cap over.
I don't have one. I was going to be late if I went to go get one.
Oh, man.
So I didn't. Let me put in a request. Maybe I can have it brought to me.
So yeah, we're seeing some interesting movement in the market. It's obviously volatile yet again. I think I had actually ended up reacting to Snap's earnings in the chaos last night, and they absolutely got hammered on a pretty terrible earnings miss. And it seems as if it's kind of dragging everything else down, including tech. And as we have seen, at least recently, Bitcoin's been kind of tracking the tech sector, not to a T, but as we all know, it's been following it for at least a little bit. So we'll see what today brings. But any thoughts on this before we move on to what we got going on today?
I think it's related to the sharks and the ice cream correlation.
It might be. It might be.
I was watching Snap as the make or break, just because they deal with ad revenue, and it kind of gives you a clue as to probably what Meta and Google are going to be saying next week. So Snap usually always comes out and gives the heads up. It's always that one no one thinks about, but doesn't look like it's gonna be good. If they said ad revenue sucking, like I guess they could pull just a zinger. Google could come out and be like, "That's just you. We are seeing good," but I doubt it. Usually they correlate. So it looks like next week's probably gonna suck too, with Facebook and Google. And
you know what's not going to suck next week, though?
What's that?
I'll be in Vegas. So my schedule next week will not suck at all. I leave tonight. I'm there for 8 days. It's the longest I've ever been in Vegas in my life.
What are you looking forward to, Tam? Like, what's the most exciting thing you're looking forward to?
I don't know. I'm going to go to the Litecoin conference. We'll see how that goes. It actually started today.
Beautiful.
But I'll get there tomorrow, be there for tomorrow, and then do some chaos sports stuff as well, and the simulcast rooms. It'll be fun.
You gamble? Yeah. You can get your gamble on? I'll
get my gamble on. I'm not a huge gambler, just because I like my money and I know what Vegas is about. I don't get suckered all the time. It will happen every now and then. I'll pass the big, huge, giant slot machine and I'll throw $20 in there. Why? But it doesn't happen too often.
I'll never play slots.
My grandma.
I like it. I like the old school pull the handle slots.
Once I found out, my dreams got crushed when I found out like random isn't real. Like, so all these things know exactly what they're going to pay out. And I was like, nah, it's not for me. I don't know. I like that just ruined all the fun for me. They already know I'm going to lose. So
play the tables in, my man.
I do. Those are fun.
My grandma died with her secret. She lived in San Rafael, San Francisco, California, and she disappeared like once a month. Just bye. She'd go to Vegas, come back with money every single time.
My grandparents went once a quarter.
Yeah.
And then retired out there.
I guess I got to go. I got to figure what this hype's about. Did they find like some winning table? Is there like a little random quarter in there?
I think she did the slots and blackjack are the two where the odds are slightly in your favor. And I guess they'd watch for someone to just go through all their money and then use that one. And the odds start coming in your favor at some point.
think so. Yeah, I do blackjack. I always go with the set amount of money, and like as I win, like the money I go in left pocket, and then so as I win, I just take a few chips off and put it in my right pocket. Never
lock pocket.
Nice.
I do the same thing. You have a lock pocket. Do the same.
I started doing that. I'd go with my sister a lot, and people would see like if I'm winning, they start asking me for chips. So it always look like I'm just like broke or barely hanging on like the whole time. And then I just wait for everyone to leave, then cash out.
And we would, when I was in school for the Navy, I was in Biloxi, Mississippi, and we would go after school each night over to the casino with like 20, 30 bucks, get our free drinks. As soon as if we made 20 bucks back and went in the pocket, we kept playing. And if, sometimes we walked out with 100, sometimes we only spent 20 bucks, but it was fun.
Yeah, as long as you do it responsibly, I don't think there's anything to worry about. I have had a couple of friends that got themselves in trouble, but is what it is. Moving on, we have the WTF news of the day. By the way, guys, if you're just tuning in, we have a special guest in the NFT world that we're going to be talking to this Friday. As you guys always know, Fridays are our guest days, so we'll be having her on. I'm certainly looking forward to that. Also, we have some news on the highly anticipated Aptos that we're going to be reacting to as well. But first, guys, this is craziness. How many of you are Star Wars fans at all?
I like it. Don't raise my hand.
Greg is. All right. So would you be crazy enough to go to go visit something like this? And I want to show you this. This is, first of all, I'm just going to show you the picture. You're going to tell me what you think it's made out of.
Wax or paper mache?
This is a Han Solo. If you guys know the scene, this is Han Solo in the cryo chamber, if you will. This is made out of bread. Made out of bread.
Bread.
This is a loaf of bread.
Why?
God,
that is a great question. That's why it's a WTF news of the day.
You know what? If it was a bakery, it makes sense. Instead of wasting it all.
It is a bakery, but I don't think anybody's going to be eating this this loaf of bread. It's actually on display in San Francisco. So it was. I don't know what to make of this. I know that there's a lot of Star Wars nerds out there, and believe me, I love Star Wars. I do. I'm a Star Wars nerd over Star Trek. That is for sure. But I don't know if I would go this far. So the story is that two women made this in Benicia, California. Is it Benicia? I think it's Benicia, California. A bakery in the San Francisco Bay Area had dubbed it 6 foot, 1.8 meter bread sculpture of the Star Wars character as he appeared to be frozen after the carbonite in The Empire Strikes Back. Hanley Pervin and her mother, Catherine, co-owners of the One House Bakery in Benicia, California, spent weeks molding, baking, and assembling the life-size sculpture using wood and 2 types of dough, including a type of yeastless dough with a higher sugar content than so that will last longer. But guys, I gotta say, there's no way that I'm eating that bread.
It's sourdough. Maybe I would scratch on it, but that's it.
Not a fucking chance.
Yeah.
Well, he will be.
You see like those random like TikTok videos, something like people with these crazy talents, and it's like, well, why? Like, how much time did you spend developing that? Like, it's going nowhere. Like, why would you?
But you know why though?
Passion.
Well,
My
that's
passion.
It's getting us talking about it though, right? I mean, that's probably the big reason is why you're doing it, right? For marketing purposes and that sort of thing. And if we really want to dumb it down, that's probably what it's all about. But it's very interesting to see that in the least. All right, so let us know what you guys think about that. If you're a Star Wars nerd, go check it out. Go Google it. It's all over the internet right now. Sela says I wouldn't. What'd she say?
I wouldn't use the word molding.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so next we have the Aptos news. So let me share that with you guys as well, real quick. Hold on one second. Maybe there we go.
Gotcha, Brad. You got it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
You got it.
So Aptos, the blockchain built on Silicon Valley's Wonderkinds has become this week's punchline in crypto. The project ain't apt, apparently, according to CoinDesk. Its token APT dropped about 50% in its first 24 hours of trading, and the crypto network that boasts a potential transaction count of 100,000 had only about 4 per second at first. The project, in which valued at $2 billion to pre-launch private investments rounds, has around 959 million market cap of this as of this writing. To me, do you guys think that this is correlated to the actual characteristics of this currency or this coin, or is it more indicative of what's going on generally in the market?
I think it's a little of both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, this is just one of those things where this is a coin that is heavily reliant, according to its tokenomics, on VCs and on private money. And when you have something that takes time to cook or to build or to, whatever you want to call it, VCs don't like that. They want their product out now. They want money in their pocket right now. And Aptos is no different. They're not immune to this sort of thing. So you have something that feels very rushed. The tokenomics of it are very suspect. But what I do like about this Aptos release is the team behind it. These are all former Facebook developers. This is a smart group of people who took something that they most likely believed in at Facebook. And when Facebook shut down its entire Libre product, according to regulation threats and whatnot, they shut it down quickly, put it all open source. People who were passionate at Facebook about this project in general broke off on their own, left Facebook, left a job that was solid and benefits and all that kind of stuff, and went to pursue this project that they had started in the form of Libra originally. So I wouldn't take away the core team behind this, their obvious passion for the product, just because most likely VCs rushed the release. And it looks bad. It looks terrible. It looks like absolute VC money and a VC, equity project, but a lot of things release very quickly and not to the devs' desire, I guarantee you.
Yeah, and that's one of the things to Tamp's statement is the investors or the pretty much the biggest percentage of the tokens are going to the developers, to the exchanges, to the everybody, but not the actual community, like people, decentralized, like out there, so others can start building on it. And the way they did the tokenomics also is staking. They are, you can only stake, you cannot sell your tokens out. So it's almost like trying to secure the liquidity within the ecosystem. You can sell the tokens you earn in staking. But when you're the VCs and the money that was behind this, the corporate side of it, it locks in your capital in there. But there is no push for the entire. So Libra, going back to Libra, the step before this existed, it was the greatest. It was a basket of fiat and also companies put into this stable coin that was going to be released. They had a lot of regulatory pushback on this, so they killed the project. And that's what triggered this group who understood what they were building to launch. But they still stuck with VCs, with corporations to do this. And now when you look at what transpired with even Meta in today's world, they have a lot of baggage with Facebook on selling, their client data, just so many other poor choices that impacted community within Facebook. It seems it had an impact in this deployment also, where it's like they're iffy. It's like, I don't know if they're looking for my benefit or the corporations or the investors' benefit more than the community itself. And then you have the market tanking on top of that. So it is a blend of it all.
Agreed, 100%. The VC's tokens are locked up for a year, so they're trying to say, well, we're not just going to release and the VCs will dump on the market. But like Jaime said, the staking rewards of those tokens that are locked up, those are available for sale on the market. So the VCs now are making all this money, in what looks like a yield or a reward, and they just get to sell that and just kind of slow milk this cow. A lot of people don't like that, but I mean, software is a lot like things like Fine Spirits. It's some of the hardest business to be in because you have to let things mature and give it time. And the hardest thing for a VC to do is invest in something like a Fine Spirit that needs, say, 12 years minimum of aging before you can release the product. In the interim, you have to release all this other stuff that isn't as good, kind of this not great tasting stuff to make money so that you can continue to pay your crew to make the fine end product, which is our Fine Spirits. And software is the same way. I mean, you have to pay these developers to continue to develop, but the end game, everybody knows in software, is years away. So this absolutely feels rushed, but I think if you're in the game, you understand why. It's just not a good look for those that don't understand that.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, agreed. And actually, I think this is probably a good time to bring in our guest, Emily, because I kind of want to get her thoughts on this too. So let's go ahead and just bring her on in. Emily, how are you doing today? Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm good.
Good morning, Emily.
How's everybody here?
Hello.
Doing good.
Bright and early. Yeah, you guys are talking about Aptos coin, and we have a name for a coin that you can't sell in shitcoins. It's called a honeypot. So I don't know. It's an interesting choice for tokenomics.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I'll let you go any further, Emily, Emily is from Foolproof Labs, so foolprooflabs.io. We're going to be talking a little bit about her company and what exactly it is that they do over there. But yeah, just elaborate a little bit more on that, Emily.
Sure, dive right into it, right? So I'm the co-founder of Foolproof Labs. It's myself and my partner, who's like an experienced engineer. I guess in short, it's transaction-based security for your Web3 wallets. Right now, most security that's available is something like a warning sign. Took a fun selfie with Peter at Web3 Expo a couple weeks ago. He kind of just like,
Love it.
you know, threw up his phone. He was like, take a selfie with me right now. Okay, now add your Twitter. Okay.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he is a lot of fun. Yeah, so it's basically transaction-based security for your Web3 wallet. So self-custody is a super important component of crypto in general. But, you know, more important than anything else is keeping it in your wallet and not giving it up to a scammer or falling victim to some social engineering and the expectation of having to know everything about writing a smart contract in order to operate in crypto, or know everything about crawling a blockchain or like looking for red flags, I think is a big barrier. So we're really excited to help solve that problem.
So Emily, in terms, what is the normal way people engage with the NFTs, and what do you bring? So what's different if we engage Foolproof Labs in our transactions? Where is the difference, and how do we, how can we leverage your services for our own protection?
Sure. So the key component of our technology is that we use a custom and private RPC per user. An RPC is a roam procedure call. It's very similar to something like an API if you're familiar with software, but it's basically how your wallet application talks to the blockchain itself. So it's not a smart contract, right? It's just a highway of information. So we give each of our users a custom and private RPC, and we use that as a second form of identification on the blockchain. So that's a piece of information that comes over when you're making a transaction. So beyond just being the holder of your seed phrase, we also make sure that you're the owner of this RPC. So if you're interacting with us, what's going to happen is you would go through your transaction per usual, and then you would, you know, say submit or, you know, agree or sign or whatever it is that you're interacting with. And we would actually pause that in the middle and do all of the analysis for you very quickly. We break down the smart contract into human readable terms. We give you data from the blockchain, and we give you data from other users so you can make an informed decision there. And then on the backside, if somebody tries to exploit you in something like a signature phish attack or seed phrase theft, we are watching for that, and we'll pull your assets into your predetermined backup wallet before they can steal it. So we kind of grab whatever's yours right out of the thief's hands and recover it for you.
So I set that up then. Me, the user
Yeah.
of your technology, I would be, hey, here's my backup wallet, my emergency colder wallet kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So, our main goal is to keep your crypto in your hands at all times. We don't have a custody wallet. We don't want your seed phrase. We don't want your private keys. We just want you to operate more safely.
Got it. So I set up the mechanism to protect. So I go set up that backup wallet. I have my own transactional wallet. Let's call it hot, or where I do all my transactions. And if you if you suspect, or the algorithm suspects there's unpure transaction coming in, it follows the instructions I gave it to go to the wallet that I control. No one else does.
Exactly. And it's not even algorithm based. It's literally, we watch the mempool, which is where your transaction goes before it gets put on a block. And if we see something coming through on the mempool that is not attached to your RPC, which is your second form of authentication, then we assume it's fraudulent and we'll pull it into your backup wallet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So this is a solution that could be implemented by pretty much any company involved in crypto. You could become a layer solution.
Yeah, centralized exchanges have, their own kind of two-factor authentication setup, right? You have to put in your Google Authenticator key. You have to sign, or you have to click on the link that they sent you in the email, or you've got to reply to the text message, or put in the code they texted you. All of those different things. So they have a lot of Web 2 solutions. But what's unique about us compared to any other security brand that's out there is this is definitely a Web 3 answer to a Web 3 problem. And me and my co-founder feel pretty strongly that you wouldn't be able to solve this particular type of problem with a Web 2 solution.
Amazing. So how'd you get involved in crypto, and how'd you come to today? Give us a little background on who you are. How the hell did you even appear here?
Sure. So like I realize that that's pretty technical for most users here. So think of it as, you're driving down the road and you are in a car and you have no airbag or no seatbelt, and someone comes out and sideswipes you, right? Or T-bones you, you're not going to do so well. But we really add in that seatbelt and that airbag to protect you. It's that second form of, authentication and security that you don't have right now. But how I got into crypto, it was my pandemic hobby. So I'd kind of started in 2019, just getting to know crypto, and then I had a lot more time than I expected. So I was able to do some deep dives, and I was listening to podcasts like what is the blockchain, and doing the Coinbase thing, and like following their tutorials, and learning about their coins and claiming their free stuff. And then I ended up in like a Discord server that had for stock trading, that had a crypto channel, and it taught me about like DeFi there, and I started doing that, and I kind of degened on my way all the way down into like altcoins, and ended up working on an altcoin that was launching an NFT marketplace. And then I learned a lot more about NFTs and got pretty deep into there. And then through that process I met my now business partner Chris, and that is kind of how we started.
Excellent.
So let's it definitely started really advanced. Let's wind it all the way back for any of our listeners. We talk about NFTs on this channel a lot. I think a lot of people might be interested in NFTs because they hear about it a lot, but they think it's just pictures of monkeys and they don't understand it. So Foolproof Labs is the company that you work for, and you offer, is it correct, for somebody who's just getting into the space, a wallet to put these pictures if you want to speak? Is that correct?
So we don't have a wallet yet. That's on our roadmap. What we're offering is transaction-based security. So one of the most common things that you hear about NFTs, if you're active in them, is utility, kind of this elusive word of like, what value do I get for buying this picture of an animal or whatever it is. So what a lot of projects have done to provide their users utility is what's called token gating, which is basically you use your NFT to log into a website or a service. And that's the form of authentication. So, I don't know if that makes more sense.
No, it is. So if we're walking somebody through there, they said, hey, my buddy told me I have to get into whatever, this NFT. and I'm worried about the security of it. But let's say I buy the NFT. How do I then utilize Foolproof Labs security on this NFT that I now have? You know, do I have to have a certain type of wallet to use your product? Can it be on any blockchain? Like, what are you built on top of? Let's start from the very, very beginnings. How do I even interact with Foolproof Labs? Do I do it on Bitcoin? Do I do it on Ethereum? Where do I go to use your product?
Those are all great questions. Thanks for bringing us back to that level. So we're launching our beta application in the next couple of weeks here, and that is specific to Ethereum. Okay. And when you want to use our application in general, it's based on your transactions. So we secure your self-custody wallet. If you're involved in crypto, you may have heard something like "not your keys, not your crypto," which is a popular kind of catchphrase, I guess. And what that means is if you have your crypto on a centralized exchange, something like Coinbase or FTX or crypto.com, those all operate a lot more like a bank does. They have their own centralized ledger that they assign some crypto value out to you as, but you can always extract your crypto into your own wallet. So when you move from a centralized exchange into what's called self-custody or holding onto your own wallet, it's very similar to like stuffing your cash in your mattress or putting it in a coffee can and hiding it in your cabinet, right? These like very old school methods of holding your money, except that, we'll put it on our crypto wallet hidden behind our seed phrase or our ledger, right? Like we'll put it on some device like that. It's literally just a location on the blockchain that you need to have the secret password to. So that's kind of what we're helping you protect against. So yeah,
so
in the case,
do you interact with all wallets on Ethereum or just some of the more better known ones like MetaMask or Exodus? Which ones do you interact with?
Right. So our application itself is running through the RPC, which is what we talked about earlier, and that's the highway of information. So every single wallet is going to operate with an RPC. And if you've gone a little bit deeper into the wallet's functionality, you can do things like add additional blockchains that aren't default, right? Like most people have heard about Bitcoin or Ethereum, but there's a lot of blockchains that you can use in crypto, right? There's kind of Polygon, which is the blockchain that Disney's chosen to go with for their NFT launch, or Avalanche, which is a new one, or newer one. So the way that you access those from your wallet is you need to add them. You're going to add their new network, which is their specific RPC information that you communicate with. So now I just opened up a channel of information for me to go talk to Polygon or whatever that is. In the same way that you open up that channel of information to talk to Polygon, you're opening up your own private highway to start interacting with Ethereum. At least for the beta case. We're going to expand out to the other EVM blockchains, which are the ones that are compatible with Ethereum soon after.
Right. So if I understand this correctly, I have a wallet on Ethereum. I want to buy an NFT. So I have to open up a channel in my wallet to buy that NFT. Now that NFT is in my wallet, and I want to secure this NFT that I have in my wallet better. So now I can open up a channel to Foolproof Labs that adds a layer of security or an airbag, as you described, to the NFT that's already in my wallet. Is that correct?
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't have to wait even until you buy this NFT. This protects your entire wallet and the transactions that are happening on the Ethereum blockchain. So even before you go in to start buying these things, right, that first transaction, you're even at risk. So you could have our protection before you interact anywhere.
Okay. And if I open a channel to you first, because I know I'm going to buy some NFTs and I want them protected, is this an NFT that I'm buying from you that's going to sit with the rest of my NFTs and protect them? Or what is me opening a channel to Foolproof Labs? What does that look like to me as the consumer, as the user? Do I have a picture of Foolproof Labs in my wallet, or how do I know that I'm using your product?
Yeah. So the way that you would do, or the way that you would know you're using our product for sure is on our web app, which
Mhm.
is your monitoring dashboard, really. We
Right.
would tell you if you're currently protected or not. And that is easy for us to find out if your wallet is connected because we can see what RPC you're operating on, right? So if you connect your wallet to our app, we can see if you're on the Ethereum mainnet, or we can see if you're on the Polygon mainnet. Whatever you happen to be attached to. And in our case, you would have wanted to switch to the your special foolproof Ethereum mainnet connection.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
yeah, we're your armored guard. We're not your storefront or your actual wallet itself. We're your private security.
Excellent. And let's say that there is I have in my Ethereum wallet, let's say I have a Bored Ape Yacht Club or
Yeah.
Bored, yeah, I got one of the yacht apes and it's worth 3 or 6 figures, right? And
Yeah. The
somebody
drinks are on
tries,
you, right?
right, and true.
Yeah.
But that aside, somebody tries to come in and put software in my wallet to steal that or to do something malicious with my NFTs. What does
Yeah.
Foolproof Labs, what does it look like when you guys determine that there's a malicious actor trying to access my wallet? What happens?
Sure. So on our side, if I guess like a key component of self custody is that you are in control. No one can get in there without specific information or permission that you granted them. So
Right.
imagine that you're standing at your front door and somebody knocks and it's like the repairman, right? And so you open the door and you let the repairman in, and you're trusting the repairman to go and fix your sink or whatever it is, and then leave your house and not walk out with your safe as well, right?
Right.
So that is pretty similar to how it works when you engage on the blockchain and you have self custody. So what Foolproof would do in that case is give you the information about this guy. We'd say like, oh, he was actually at all these addresses and a bunch of people have reported him stealing their stuff. So, just know that before you say yes. Give you the option to say, oh, no, thank you, and slam the door in their face. And then if they had managed to get into your house without you letting them in, and they're walking out the front door with a bag full of your jewelry, then we grab that bag of jewelry and throw it into your safe before he can
Gotcha.
actually leave.
That's
Beautiful.
awesome. That's
Beautiful.
amazing. That's amazing. So the RPC does all this. We don't have to have anything inside of our wallet, like for instance, on my computer, I have an antivirus software. And
Right.
I know down at the bottom of my computer that it's there. I have the little shield and that it's running. And then if something malicious happens, it pops up and it says, hey, this is bad. This is bad. What do you want me to do? Allow it or resolve it. Does it work
Yeah.
similar to that in your NFT wallet? Or do I just know you're running in the background? Or is there something there that shows me that, yes, you are here and present? What does this look like?
Yeah, so for the beta version, it's all contained in the web app itself. So you would have that open functioning as a dashboard, and you would go to make a transaction, and we would pop up an alert, and we'd say like, "Oh, this is a red alert. Pay very close attention to what this is. Whatever this contract is trying to do, they have a lot of permission to take what's in here, right? Like you have
Okay.
$100,000 at risk or something like that." So
Excellent.
it does work similar to antivirus, but just the way that the blockchain interactions work, it's not super parallel to what you're used to with your regular operating systems and software that you download. So it's a unique problem, and it also makes the technology of blockchain very fun to work with. So it's like a whole new world, a whole new methodology of developing software. So it's very similar to malware. We pop up something that's like, whoa, 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 I don't know if you want to do this. In the future, we'll have more variety of alerts, right? Like you can enable browser alerts on your like desktop alerts for your browser, right? Like you'll get your Gmail pop up. It's like, hey, new message, new message, new message. So we can do something similar to that. So we'll in the future add more channels like that that are easy. Email backup, just the kind of the Web 2 things that we're used to, because there isn't so much alert available in the blockchain right now. But yeah, it's very similar in functionality.
So I would load MetaMask and I would load the app together,
Yeah.
and that's how they intercommunicate. So when I go ahead and start signing to do a transaction, you're watching the mempool. Foolproof Labs is watching the mempool, sees something suspect, and it'll raise that warning to you. Is that
that's in essence correct. So I know it's really dense, but yeah, but like, I guess like ultimately the point there being that like we don't think people need to understand the blockchain at this level to be safe, right? Like that's our key tenet here. So you don't even have to have our app open for it to do its job. But if you want your transaction to go through, then you would have to go into our app and say like, yes, I do want this to happen. But if anybody interacts without knowing that, then that's probably a red flag, right? Like if they don't know that they need to open the app and they're trying to make this transaction on your behalf, then they probably shouldn't be using the wallet in the first place.
Gotcha.
Well,
yeah.
Without going too deep, because we can go deeper a little later.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, for sure. How do you determine that it's a malicious contract trying to go into your wallet? Do you have basically a checklist where, like you mentioned permissions, it's got, 8 permissions that, this actor wants to do, and we're only comfortable with allowing 3 permissions at a time. What do you do to signal a possible malicious contract?
Yeah. So for us, well, I guess this shouldn't be, huge news to most people out there, but when it comes to smart contracts, which is basically how you configure the blockchain itself, right? Like it's a piece of code that tells the blockchain how you want it to operate. Most of those are not original. They're very much copy paste, right? So someone went into someone else's contract and they were like, oh, this does what I wanted to do. I'm going to copy paste it, and then I'm going to make some changes.
Are we talking about your wallet or Cardano? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm talking about contract.
No. Emily, we know what you meant. He's digging.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So there's snippets of code that are very identifiable, so we can be like, whoa, red flag, or like if we see something like the piece of code that says like, oh yeah, grant full access here, then we would recognize that piece, and we could run a calculation on your wallet and be like, sorry, my nose is like really ready. We could say something like, oh, you're about to put the $40,000 that you have in assets at risk here because of this piece of code. Are you sure you want to do that? So yeah, the complexities of the blockchain and the technology are just really hard for your average user to overcome right now. Someone says it's a watchdog with teeth. Yeah, that you definitely cannot. Yeah, good luck getting past as well. But yeah, it's there's a lot of complexity here that is going to prevent people from being able to operate safely. And it's just not great for crypto in general for someone who's used to, being able to call their credit card company and be like, this is a fraudulent charge, please reverse it. Or, call your bank and be like, I lost my debit card, shut that thing down and please mail me a new one, right? Or just even losing, cash out of your wallet. All of those things. Like we know what happens if you lose cash. It's gone forever. And it's basically the same thing with cryptocurrency. If you send it to the wrong address, it's gone. Like sometimes if you send it to an exchange, they'll work with you because they're nice and they're gonna be like, oh, okay, you actually meant to include this piece of information. We see that this wire is from a bank account that you own, or kind of those different paths of information. But it just works very differently in crypto. It's very Wild West centric. But that's not great for adoption. That is hard for people to understand. We know what we're talking about, but we don't think that everyone else needs to know what they're talking about. And at the end of the day, most crypto loss comes from social engineering. And the tools that are available today don't protect you from social engineering. There's some apps out there that'll like send you a pop-up and they're like, whoa, this is shady. You sure you want to touch that? But like that's basically the warning sign 2 feet before you walk off the cliff. And we put up a full fence.
Right.
Excellent. So let's address a couple of the questions our community. So are they physically vetting your transaction in the mempool? You said meme. Or is it a smart contract?
Right. Yeah. So this is definitely some nitty gritty information. It's not a smart contract. Our technology is centered around the RPC, the custom private RPC that we've added functionality to beyond just regular MetaMask RPC or Trust Wallet RPC. And our extra functionality is what lets us get all of this information and serve it to you and give you a second chance. It's definitely not a smart contract. And something that we've seen a lot of is people trying to solve this problem of theft through smart contracts. And as my partner puts it, he says that's really just kicking the can down the road. Like you can kind of keep layering on smart contracts to do different things, but you're never going to prevent this. So what we are doing with the RPC is preventing it. So they're asking if it's physically vetting your transaction in the mempool. Yes, we are using your custom RPC as your second form of identification. So instead of just like, oh, they have the keys to the car, like they have the keys and the pink slip, this is definitely their car.
Got it. Beautiful. But let's say me doing the transaction and I can actually verify and say, all right, this is good, please allow it to pass. So I'm still in control of the transaction?
Yeah, you're 100% in control. So there's two processes here. The first one helps you in the case that you've been socially engineered, or a website that you're used to using has had their contract hacked or their blockchain interactions hacked, and someone has gone in and put in their bad actor, right? So like that happened on an NFT, I guess, reservation system called Premint.xyz. It still was their plain website, but someone had gone in and rerouted the blockchain interactions to their bad actor. So people, even doing their due diligence, had bookmarked the site, had, double checked everything, got in there. But if you can't read a smart contract, then you don't understand how it works. So those are kind of the types of things that we prevent against. Someone's asking, is it two-factor or multi-signature? It's similar to two-factor authentication, but you don't have to be as active on it. So on the front end, we give you all the information that you might need to make a better informed decision that would have taken you a long time to gather on your own if you knew how to do it in the first place. And on the backside, we're watching your back for you. So if you left some permission open, which is very easy to do because, again, not everyone can read a smart contract, right? So like if you've left permission open, or if somehow your seed phrase or your private keys were compromised in a data breach, and that happened on the Solana network a couple of months ago, then we see that. And if someone goes and tries to make a transaction, not with your custom RPC, with your separate form of authentication, then we know that like, oh, that's not Emily driving the car. That's like some guy who stole it. We don't want that. Let's pull that back. So that's how this works, really.
Got it. And one last question from Bara. How do you decide if a transaction is malicious or not? Do you use AI? How do you ensure the system doesn't censor transactions?
Ooh, good question.
Okay, so the way that the front of the app works is we'll assume everything needs to be double checked. But as you use it, you can say like, oh, green light this contract. This is something that I talk to normally, right? Like I use the OpenSea contract to sell my NFTs, or like I go on PancakeSwap a lot and I'm swapping coins, or I guess Uniswap. PancakeSwap is for Binance, but yes, I go on Uniswap or SushiSwap. Like, let me interact with these without disturbing this. I know what I'm doing in these situations. And then when you go to a new contract, then we would pause it and we would say, are you sure? Like, here's extra information. You now have a second chance to continue or throw this on the floor.
Excellent. And just another follow-up question to that. A lot of these newer wallets, especially on Ethereum, since the switch to proof of stake, have some kind of bad actor antivirus, if you will, software built into them. I know MetaMask on its newest update definitely did that. How is Foolproof Labs different, or how do they go a step above these built-in, ready-to-go security wallets?
Sure. So they haven't actually built anything in like that. All they've done is try to translate the smart contract. So we have that component as well. But if you used MetaMask, it looks just like what you used to sign. So you have to retrain yourself in the user experience to not click confirm or submit or whatever it is, sign. You have to retrain yourself to read through it. And what they're exposing to you is also just information about the smart contract itself. Whereas we can give you information about like the wallet activity, have they been collecting Bored Apes in the past hour? Like that's important information, especially if you're trying to sign a contract where you think you're getting an airdrop, right? Like that's a big red flag. As well as we have our other users' data. So we can say something like, oh, actually 100% of our users said no to this. Are you sure you want to be the first one to say yes? So it's additional information, and it's separate from MetaMask itself. MetaMask is, slowly evolving, but it's just not enough information to stop you, as well as the fact that, we're watching your wallet when you're not.
Excellent. Excellent. That's good, because it actually helps you take away the technical know-how or knowledge to be able to interface with your transactions. It helps you, in layman terms, say, hey, these guys, all of them are saying no. Why are you saying yes? Or verify. So it helps you bring it down to relatable things as a human in the interaction, instead of a snippet of code, which you have no clue what it means.
Right. So like even just saying, oh, this gives them access to everything in your wallet. Are you sure? That's, different than like, this is set approval for all. Do you know what that function means in Solidity contract? Because not everybody does. So yes, their information is getting better, but the additional component of that custom RPC that you're able to use second form authentication really gives you the full spectrum of protection.
Excellent. And what happens if something does get compromised, and let's say an NFT is stolen? Is that going to be user error because I went around Foolproof Labs' advice that, hey, this looks malicious, but you let it go? Is that now on the end user if something does get stolen? Or do you guys offer anything further as far as trying to regain what was stolen or recompensating? I mean, what does that look like when somebody comes to you mad at you because, hey, my whatever was stolen?
Yeah, I'm mad at you because I made a bad choice.
Right, exactly, because it's gonna happen.
Despite everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're just a tool, right? We're not insurance. That's something that other people offer. We're just increased information and transparency, as well as security. So if we pop up and we say like, oh, you're going to compromise X dollars in assets if you sign this transaction, and someone's like, you don't know what you're talking about, even though I pay you money every month, go ahead and do it. And then they come to us and they're like, they stole our thing when you said they were going to steal our thing. Are you going to get it back for us? Like,
right.
Not right now. Like that's not part of our business plan right now. Yeah, I think there are services out there, but that are willing to insure you. But I can't imagine that the insurance on that is something too palatable, honestly. So, we're giving you the best information that we possibly. Yeah.
In a way, it's actually great record keeping for you guys. If you advised against a malicious contract, but the user ignored your advice and says, allow anyways, I'm fine with this, and does in fact get something stolen out of their wallet against their will, it's actually a great record keeping for you guys to say, hey, look, we warned against this, and this. Our users didn't listen, and subsequent theft happened. Versus the same type of list of, we warned against this, our users did not allow that contract, in fact denied that contract, and we now know that contract is responsible for however many millions of dollars worth of theft that did not affect our user because of our advice. So that's a great tracking.
Yeah, exactly.
Will this also help with recovery by chance? Like, what if it did get stolen? Can you at least offer, or do you just by having that third piece on there, is there anything else you can say, like, for those that can recover? Is there anything like, hey, it did go here? Like a watchdog will at least say like, the car drove off that way. Can you at least say that, or is there not like,
I mean, that's sure. That's very easy to surface information. That as specific functionality isn't in our beta version of the app, but it's that's very easy to get. That's the beauty of the blockchain, right? Like we know exactly where it went. It's very easy to find. So like even services like Tornado Cash, if you've heard of them, that are meant to scramble your transaction, those can even be sorted basically, right? It's just a giant knot that needs to be untangled. So in that case, yes, that would happen. Someone had asked if your seed phrase is compromised, wouldn't the hacker have access to that RPC? And the answer is no. Your seed phrase is not the same thing as your RPC. The RPC is the highway that you're using, and your seed phrase are like the keys to your car. So if we know that like you're supposed to drive on your private road and we see your car going down the main road full of all your valuables, then we say like, no way, and pull all that back into your backup wallet.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
So if someone falls off the cliff, it's because they cut through the netting.
Right. It's because they were really fighting too, right? They're like, no, I want to run off this cliff. Let me run through this cliff. Yeah. So we're definitely exposing the user to a lot more information than they've had before. And also information, like even if you're an experienced user, information that takes a long time to gather. So, us just serving it up to you in, a fraction of a second, as opposed to you having to like go and crawl all of this data yourself and like go look at like, what the activity is and like, are they doing weird stuff? And like, here's the contract. We already broke it down. Here's the information. Yeah, so it just makes it a lot faster and a lot easier, and timeliness. Things change so fast in crypto, like literally in seconds, especially if you're trying to, grab a mint or make a trade or, catch a dip on a currency, right, that you want to swap. All of those different things affect how long this takes.
Excellent.
Awesome. That's great stuff. Yeah, keep the
we
questions
find you?
coming, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
Yeah.
Emily and her whole crew is at foolprooflabs.io on Twitter. They're also Foolproof Labs. You can reach out,
And
ask
we're Foolproof
any
app
questions.
on Twitter. Yeah.
Foolproof app. Okay, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Foolproof app on Twitter. Definitely check out their stuff. I mean, this just sounds like another layer of security that, especially for the noob, I mean, is really, really important. People who are really advanced in this probably have their own ways to foolproof their thing, but that's not everybody, right? And if something, we talk about NFTs a lot on this channel. So if something like you see McDonald's getting into NFTs, you mentioned Disney. So if Disney has an NFT that allows access to the front of the line, whatever, somebody not into crypto might want to buy that NFT for that utility purpose that you mentioned. So something like Foolproof Labs for that type of a user might make a lot of sense, because they don't even know what they're doing trying to get the NFT into a wallet. I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just following this how-to video on YouTube or whatever. And I don't feel good about just leaving this in here. I would love something like Foolproof Labs to help me navigate what I don't even know what I'm doing. So I can really see this passing the grandma test, so to speak.
Yeah, well, so like even with Starbucks, right? They're moving their loyalty rewards program to NFTs. So what you actually introduced is the concept of social engineering, where like, how do I know I'm following a good tutorial to move my NFTs? How do I know it's not just telling me to send it into someone else's wallet, right? Like if you're that new at this, those things are very hard to put together. It's super complex. The way that the technology works is very different than what you're used to, especially with things like, PayPal, right? That like make this online payment processing very easy. People don't really understand, what they're risking every time that they connect their wallet. So it's, the idea is grandma proof. But for someone like myself, where I know what I'm doing, like I just don't want to deal with it, right? Like this is a convenience. This makes it easy for me. This makes it mindless for me, right? Like I don't have to distract myself from whatever I was trying to do to go like dive deep into the blockchain to figure out what all these past transactions are. I can just like look at it very clearly and say like, oh yeah, all right, good. That's what I want to do. Or I'm like, oh shit, like let me go tweet this out to all my friends. This is some huge data breach. And that's also something that Foolproof is going to do as we get this information. We're going to share it with the public, right? Like, we don't want to gatekeep security in any way. That's very easy for us to share, right? So if like we see a new breach, we see a newly compromised site, we see a bad contract or a bad actor, we're going to make people as aware as possible.
Excellent.
Yeah. And one last question. How does the shadow token work? Someone's already.
A little deeper.
Yeah, it's like not a one last question thing.
Okay.
So a shadow token is another offering from Foolproof Labs. And the idea of the shadow token is to increase security for this token gated concept that we were talking about earlier, where you go and you want to sign a transaction to get access to a special online store, or to like claim a ticket to an event, or prove it's you in Discord or whatever that is, right? When you go to the bar, you show them your driver's license and you put it back in your wallet and you walk in. You don't hand the bouncer your entire purse and you're like, all right, like, I trust you, have fun with that one, and then you walk in to enjoy your night and you don't have your money anymore, right? Like, you don't, that seems silly to anybody that you would talk to. So that is basically what's happening today in NFTs. So what the shadow token is a solution to that, right? We separate out your high value wallet in NFTs from just the login experience.
Beautiful.
Excellent. I have one more question before we like wrap it up. And this is for you, Emily. Like right now, NFTs mainly used, like you said, for some sort of art, if you want to call it that, maybe a little bit of utility, I can get into this event or whatever. Where do you see NFTs going in the future? Because we know, and we've discussed on this channel, that NFTs kind of started for creative rights, with a lot of musicians and artists trying to capture value of their ideas and their concepts. And it's molded a little bit since then into more utility, like a Starbucks reward program, right? Where do you see NFTs really going in the future versus where we are now?
Sure. Okay, so I hope everyone can bear with me on this one. My entire career has been in tech and software, specifically on building platform SaaS tools, so software as a service tools. And when I got into NFTs specifically, I started to see a lot of parallels here. And basically, it breaks down at this level. The blockchain itself is the platform that you're building on, and the blockchain has certain operating rules for it, right? Like, this is the way transactions are validated, this is the way they go into the ledger. All of that information is key to how the blockchain works itself. And if it's a smart contract enabled blockchain, then this smart contract is really how you configure the blockchain, and this is how you tell it, when I send this transaction, I want it to operate in this way, and then record it into the ledger, right? Which is like at its core what the blockchain does. So now we can configure the behavior to do what we want per transaction. And then we have the concept of wallets, right? Which is what we're protecting on. And the wallet is basically the equivalent of user management. So I can look in and I can say, oh, Emily logged in with her password. She wants to go make this transaction. Cool. I know this is Emily. She's allowed to do it because I recorded Emily can do it. And then plus that with NFTs, at its core, what an NFT is not an image, right? It's a token on the blockchain. It's a way for me to say, like, oh, here's a very specific piece of data, and I've tied content to it. So I have content in data management that I can put through a workflow on the blockchain and verify users. And that together is a very large tech stack for this functionality that already natively supports pay your own way. So for me, what I see NFTs in the future of is basically any service that you want an instant dollar resolution on for using it, right? So like, I pay the bus every time I get on the bus, right? It provides a lot of accessibility for applications and complex services that you may not have had before. So like, the art is really cool, and I really love the fact that art is driving the technology innovation, but the platform available to you opens it up to like every Silicon Valley powerhouse, every data powerhouse, anywhere that you would be wanting to get this information and own it yourself, right? So something that people don't realize about Facebook is that the average grandma user on Facebook is still making close to $100 a year on their mistypes and like weird old person interactions, just because of who follows them, right? Like, they serve up ads, they sell your data. But in the case of NFTs and the blockchain, you can really take that ownership back. You can control who has access. You can revoke that access. There's chains that support more privacy as well. So like, I think, the art is fun, and I think it's a really good use case for it. But the power of the technology and the appeal of having all of this functionality built in where you can charge someone off the bat and not have to sell like massive subscription packages is all really appealing, I think, to a lot of builders. And you can see the fight breaking down now in Silicon Valley, where people are like, okay, do we jump on this train or do we, dig our heels in? And I think the most innovative and the smartest people are definitely jumping on.
Amazing.
Great, Emily.
Nice.
Yeah. I hope I didn't lose everybody with that, but like that's, yeah.
No.
We're good.
Okay.
Good.
That clicked good.
I literally have said nothing during this interview, but I was absorbing all of it.
I think you don't like me.
So since you don't know me very well, Emily, I actually come from the traditional finance side of things, and so I've been kind of like a sponge with all of this stuff. So just kind of absorbing all of it. This is actually really eye opening, and I'm actually in the middle of building a business surrounding around NFTs. So I've been trying to like grab information from everywhere that I can. So I certainly appreciate it. And I know a lot of people who's been watching has appreciated this as well. Guys, if you want to go learn more about Emily and what she's up to, you can go check out Foolproof Labs. It's foolprooflabs.io. The link is in the chat as well. You can also go follow Emily on Twitter at Emily Loves Crypto. And then you can also follow her on her OpenSea. She's also got NFTs of her own.
Right.
It's Emily is an art therapy. She actually has some pretty funny NFTs that are on there. I love them. Go check them out, please. They're pretty good. All right. So birthdays.
Let's do it.
You're in for a treat, Emily. The birthdays are up and here we have Kim Kardashian, who's 41. Doja Cat is also 26. Judge Judy, 79.
Oh, wow.
96.
79.
She's older.
I thought she would be older too. She's only 79 years old. She's looked like she's 79 for about 30 years.
Right? She looks like the Tales from the Crypt.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, that's so funny. But then last but not least, we have Jasmine St. Clair, who is 50. She's a star of House of Horrors, Blow It Out Your Ass, Smell My Fingers, Snatch Adams, and the world's biggest gangbang too. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in this morning. We certainly appreciate it. Make sure you guys subscribe and like and hit that notification bell to get notified when we go live on Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern time to do it all over again. Emily, thanks so much for being a part of the stream again, guys. And everybody who's watching, thank you as well. We certainly appreciate it, and we'll see y'all on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Stay calm and hodl.
I got to research what the world's biggest is now.